I'm Larry Menti. Welcome back to the Delaware Way. The Delaware Port may be changing and hopefully more businesses coming in. One of the men who's trying to make that happen is Dennis Rochford, president of the Delaware River Maritime Exchange. Thanks for being here again. Let's first talk about what is the Delaware Maritime Exchange.
We function as the Chamber of Commerce of the Delaware River. Our footprint is Trenton to the sea, ports of Philadelphia, Camden, Wilmington, all the oil refineries along the river are all members of the Maritime Exchange. So we do all the ship reporting out on the Delaware River, and we do an awful lot of lobbying in Washington, D.C. with the federal agencies and our congressional delegation as it relates to the port. And
were you helpful in getting the money for the dredging of the river?
There was a tremendous team of people over the last 20 years that have worked on this. The river pilots, the port authorities and the like, and it's been a 20-year slog. They finally started construction in 2010, and it's going to be completed at the end of 2017. So the channel's going to go from 40 to 45 feet from Ben Franklin Bridge to the sea.
So that's only part of the project, and they're dredging to hopefully getting bigger boats coming in, right?
Well, the first reason to deepen the channel to 45 feet, if we didn't do that, if we didn't get that done, we would be the only major East Coast port from New York to Miami that would be restricted to 40 feet of water. If that were to be the case, we would lose the business we have. So the first benefit is we protect the business we have on the Delaware River. 2,000, 2,200, 2,300 ships a year.
Because seemingly we were last in funding. Because New York got theirs dredged,
exactly.
Baltimore got theirs dredged.
Well, 15 years of controversy. This project was authorized in 1992, and it finally got construction funds in 2010. But that's all behind us. The project's going to be completed, and we will be well positioned not only to keep the business we have, but also to benefit from the expansion of the Panama Canal, and those larger ships are going to be coming to the East Coast.
Since New York got the dredge, and since Baltimore got the dredge, you said the one thing is we're keeping the business we have. You're still a couple years away. Can you lose any of those businesses?
Well, in the world of maritime industry and dredging and business, a one-year window or less than, a one and a half year window is a matter of a couple months in a normal business. So we're pretty well positioned to keep what we've got, because the people that are coming up the river today, ships coming up the river today, know that we are going to go to 45 feet and we're going to get there within the next year or two. What we are going to be able to do is attract business from New York down to the Delaware River because of all the congestion up in New York.
They're saying the same thing about you, aren't they?
Well, they might
be able to get their business.
Yeah, but we've got a couple lines that come down in the last 6 months or so.
Oh, I see. So it's actually happening.
Well, yeah. Look, they're a large port. They handle, 5,000 ships a year. We handle 2,200. They have the major container line ships that are coming in at 50 feet. There's an awful lot of container ships and other cargo ships that are coming in at 40 to 45 feet that would want to come to the Delaware River. You can bring a container on at Packer Avenue or the Port of Wilmington, and they could be off the port in less than a couple of hours. There's instances in New York where that container is on the terminal for 2 to 3 or 4 days because of congestion. So we do have some innate advantages here on the Delaware River to keep, as I said before, the business we have and try to grow the business.
For Delaware to grow and get more business from the deeper river,
right,
do they have to do some construction first?
The Diamond State Port Corporation, which is basically the Port of Wilmington, are conducting a strategic plan to determine where they want to invest at the Port of Wilmington and potentially 2 other sites. One of the obvious alternatives for the Port of Wilmington to take advantage of the 45-foot channel is to put the port out on the Delaware River. Right now you have to come into the Christina, and that's restricted to 38 feet draft. So I think one of the options they're going to take a very hard look at is to put the port out on the Delaware River in order to get the full benefit of the 45-foot channel.
And then the work would be done, the construction work would be done in Delaware, it would be Delaware workers, and it would be jobs for Delaware, and then there would be more people hired for Delaware once that happens, if it happens.
Yeah.
When will we know?
I think the decision there is probably a year or 2 away. They have to get the strategic plan completed. They have to deal with, they got to find private investors who are going to be willing to put a couple $100, $300, $400 million into that particular project.
That's a great way to end, too. Dennis, come back. Let us know what's happening.
Thank you.
Dennis Rochford, president of the Delaware River Maritime Exchange. When we come back, a new book about Abraham Lincoln and the last hour of his life, written by a Delaware author, when the Delaware Way returns.